20 years ago, SpaceX had never reached orbit. Today, Falcon 9 launches have become so routine that a rocket flying for the 10th or even the 20th time barely makes headlines. Meanwhile, governments and aerospace giants around the world are struggling to keep pace.
Oh no.
Oh.
So, how did a company founded in 2002 become the dominant force in modern spaceflight? The answer? It isn't just better rockets. It's a completely different way of thinking about space. For most of the space age, rockets worked in a surprisingly simple way. You spent hundreds of millions of dollars building one, you launched it, then you threw it away. Imagine if every Boeing 747 was scrapped after a single flight, or every cargo ship was sunk after one crossing of the Atlantic. That's effectively how the space industry operated for decades. It worked, but it was incredibly expensive. In the space shuttle era, NASA often spent over $1 billion per mission when all of the costs were included. Even modern expendable rockets frequently cost tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars per launch. The economics simply don't scale. SpaceX looked at the problem differently. Instead of asking, how do we build a better rocket? They asked, why are we throwing away the most expensive part? The first stage of a rocket contains engines, aeronautics, computers, plumbing, fuel tanks. It's the most valuable section of the vehicle. And SpaceX wanted it back. In 2015, they achieved something many experts believed would take decades. A Falcon 9 first stage landed vertically, and since then, the company has transformed what was once a historic achievement into routine operations. Today, some Falcon 9 boosters have flown more than 20 times. The rocket flying today's missions may have already visited space over and over again, and every successful reuse reduces the cost of access to orbit. This is where many people misunderstand SpaceX. SpaceX is not primarily a rocket company, it's a manufacturing company, and that's a very important distinction. The company builds rockets more like an aircraft manufacturer builds airplanes than how traditional aerospace companies build launch vehicles. Large portions are designed in-house. Production is streamlined, hardware is tested continuously, failures are analysed rapidly. Lessons are incorporated immediately, instead of treating rockets like handcrafted masterpieces. SpaceX treats them like products. But rockets alone do not explain SpaceX's success. The second advantage is Starlink. Historically, launch companies relied on customers, governments, military contracts, commercial satellite operators. SpaceX has something different. Its largest customer is increasingly itself. Starlink has already become the largest satellite constellation ever deployed. Thousands of satellites now orbit Earth, providing internet access around the globe. Every Starlink launch creates demand for another rocket launch. And every rocket launch helps expand Starlink. It's a feedback loop that few competitors can match. As of 2026, SpaceX is deploying satellites at a pace that would have seemed impossible only a decade ago. Perhaps the most remarkable statistic isn't reusability, it's frequency. In many years, SpaceX launches more rockets than entire nations. Launches that once generated global headlines. Launches that once generated global headlines now happen so often that most people barely notice them. Think about that for a moment. Humanity spent decades treating orbital launch as an extraordinary event. SpaceX is turning that into infrastructure. And infrastructure changes everything. The internet changed the world because it became common. Electricity changed the world because it became common. SpaceX is trying to do the same thing for access to space. And then there's Starship. If Falcon 9 made rockets reusable, Starship aims to make them fully reusable. A vehicle capable of carrying more payload than any operational rocket on Earth. Designed to launch, land, refuel, and fly again. The goal isn't simply reaching orbit. It's reducing launch costs by another order of magnitude. If successful, Starship could fundamentally alter economics for space. Moon bases, space manufacturing, Mars missions, massive satellite deployments, projects that currently seem impractical suddenly become possible. This raises an obvious question. Why doesn't everyone simply copy SpaceX? And the answer is that copying the rocket is easier than copying the system. Competitors must replicate all of the following. That's manufacturing capability, engineering culture, launch infrastructure, software systems, supply chains, operational experience, and perhaps most importantly, they must replicate thousands of lessons learnt through real launches. Experience compounds, and SpaceX currently has more launch experience than almost anyone else. So why is SpaceX winning the space race? It's not because of one rocket, or one engineer, or one launch. It's because SpaceX has combined reusability, manufacturing, software, infrastructure, and scale into a system that continuously improves itself. The real achievement isn't that SpaceX launches rockets. It's that SpaceX is transforming spaceflight from an event into an industry. And if they succeed, the most important chapter of the space age may only just beginning. If you enjoy rockets, technology, infrastructure, economics, and the future as much as I enjoy babbling on about it, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.